But right now, Kurt Busch's crew chief, Steve Addington, is amongst us. Steve, top of the morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
Steve, how are you? Have you looked at the calendar? How do we get down to one race to go? My God.
I know it. It flew by. It seems like we were just in Daytona. It's been the seasons really went by in a hurry, and here we are down to one. And I think we got a great. It's turned out to be a good championship battle. Wish Shell Pennzoil Dodge was right in the middle of it, but we just didn't have it in the last 10 races, the consistency to be there.
Let's talk about this past race at Phoenix. I would say.
Why do you got to bring stuff up?
Well,
like
you guys, there was one point where I had you penciled in to go to Victory Lane, and I'm sure you did as well. You guys were running well.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, but some things went wrong. Just kind of walk everybody through what happened with you guys out there in Phoenix, Steve.
We had a great race car. Everybody, we unloaded out there, and we were pretty close to where we tested. We kept working and getting a little bit of speed in the car, and qualifying was another different animal with the track conditions. But I mean, once the green flag dropped, we moved forward and kind of just hung in there and just tried to figure out our strategy to get out front, and it played out for us to take 2 tires there and get out front, and I think we were in great position. And we were sitting there. We didn't even gamble. We didn't even think we were close on what lap we were going to pit on. I kept telling the guys we don't need to push it. We're leading the race. We don't need to push it. Just make sure that everything's good. And we called him to pit road, and in the dog leg back there, it ran out. It's just like we didn't pick it up, or just miscalculated there with being out front and running quick lap times is the only thing I can attribute it to. And really disappointed. I think through everything that we've been through this year, going out there, a new racetrack, and everybody worked their butts off there at Penske Racing to put a good game plan together and go out there and do what we did, and it was just a big disappointment for everybody on the team and the organization.
And the storybooks would have been, obviously, if you could have won after Sam Hornish won on Saturday, it would have been a great weekend for Penske Racing. But what you mentioned there, once you got in front, once Kurt got in front, boy, that car was a rocket ship. You did have a good race car on Sunday, Steve.
Track position is so important. It doesn't matter where you are, and you feel like you got to, you could tell when you passed a car and had clean racetrack and clean air that we were running lap times that were comparable with Tony and Carl and them guys, and I felt like we could get up there and battle with them. We just needed to make the right call, and we did. And then, like I said, just big disappointment. But I'm just really proud of everybody on the team. They dug in this weekend, and we changed a lot of stuff on that car, just trying things to get better, and we made gains all weekend. So just real proud of all the guys.
When you go to a racetrack, a new track like that, what do you expect? You obviously had the privilege of some testing before you went out there, but in general, is there a way to predict, or is there a stock setup that you throw into a race car when you go to a brand new racetrack?
No, we did the tire test and the open test, and worked really hard on it. And the big thing there was watching that nationwide race and seeing how the racetrack, the groove widened out, and they had an awesome race on Saturday, and just felt like, hey, the racetrack's coming around. That place is going to be really awesome here in a year or two. Just let the asphalt get seasoned. They did an awesome job with doing what they did, and we were all skeptical about going back out there, and with what they did in the heat and everything to put the lime down on the racetrack, and it was real slick. But that thing gets cured up, and you're going to see some awesome racing out there. And I was very pleased with watching the race on Saturday and how the groove widened out, and good racing out there. And then Sunday, going into there, we had that rain and stuff, and we didn't know what it was going to be like, and the racetrack was never an issue.
Well, you mentioned that rain. There was a lot of people that were fretting and stewing over that precipitation that was falling Saturday night, because the joke was they get 10 inches of rain in Phoenix a year, 6 of it fell Saturday night before that Cup race. Was it a relief for you knowing that it didn't really alter the racetrack all that much? Obviously made it a green track, but it didn't really throw anybody a lot of curveballs.
Yeah, it was a big relief, because it was just, we were like, the racetrack's going to be a lot slicker and everything. And I mean, we tightened the car up with a little bit of air pressure to start the race, and that was it. And the track had good grip, and you saw it. It was a big relief to see how they were racing out on the racetrack. And yeah, we were all like, what's going to happen now Saturday night? But turned out really good. And if you ever need rain, just schedule a NASCAR race somewhere, and we'll bring it to you.
I tell you, you're exactly right about that. I've also been asking people about the tire situation, Steve, because that was another big unknown, not knowing what Goodyear would be able to come up with the new surface, and it seems like everyone that I spoke with was very pleased with the tire that Goodyear did have for the weekend.
They did an awesome job, and like I said, we were one of the cars out there testing with them, and they brought in tires overnight at the tire test, a softer compound to get the track rubbered in, and we thought we had another tire that they thought we were going to be able to bring back there that was a softer compound and a lot of grip, but once you started doing long runs, you get to 50 or 60 laps on tires, and they were just the track surface and the soft rubber, it just built too much heat. The 18 car, burned one down. He made a long run and blew a right front out, and luckily he didn't wreck, but it was just that it was a good read, and I think they went the conservative route, and it turned out to be awesome. It was we had no tire issues whatsoever in the race, and our car was a little bit harder on left sides than rights, and that's why we chose to do left there, and our car came around to it, and that's pretty neat. Rick Campbell and all the guys there at Goodyear did an awesome job of coming up with a tire to go to a new racetrack, and especially we tire tested out there, and it was 115 degrees, and it was really hot. So they made smart decisions on that.
Now we shift our attention to the last race of the year in a completely different racetrack, Homestead Miami Speedway. It's a mile and a half, Steve, but it's a unique mile and a half. How much of a challenge is it to go to a place that you only go to once a year, and you only have notes from a year ago to go on going into the weekend?
Well, Miami's a cool racetrack. I mean, the biggest decision for the driver is to find out whether he wants to run the bottom or run the middle or run the top, and that was, you can race in all three grooves there, and it's coming up with a combination like that. I felt like we had a really good race car down there last year, and we came from 16th to 7th in the first 12 laps, and then the 00 got loose, and we were in a bad position and got put in the fence and just ruined our day. But we're excited about going down there, and everybody's digging. Like I said last week, we're going every weekend like we're in the middle of that championship, trying to win it and trying to be prepared and working hard. So going down there, it's going to be neat. It's going to be neat to see how all that stuff unfolds with the championship deal, and we're going to go down there and try to win the race and get us up in the points as much as we can and be in that top 10 so Kurt can be on stage in Vegas.
You have won 2 races this year. You've made the chase. Anything else on the bucket list you'd like to add before we shut her down here next on Sunday afternoon?
Well, I'd like to go to Homestead and sit on the pole, qualify first, because that would give us the Coors Light Pole Award for the year. We're tied with Biffle and a couple of, or I can't remember who all it is, but we're tied to win that award and to finish off the season on a high note for Penske Racing and all the guys in the shop that have, worked hard for us and gave Paul and I what we needed to go to the racetrack with and come out of there with the trophy. That's our goal every week.
Obviously, I know you wanted to be in the middle of it, and it's not going to work out that way, but the two guys fighting for it, separated by 3, Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards. Steve, kind of curious from your perspective, maybe sizing up this battle coming down the line on Sunday.
It seems like you can't get them away from each other. They qualify 7th, 8th, or 9th, and on the pole, or 1 and 3, or on the front row, or whatever. This whole period of racing for this thing, and they run together on the racetrack. And I mean, both those guys are out there driving their guts out. And I'm telling you that the 99's good at Homestead, but you put the steering wheel in Tony Stewart's hand, and I think you got a battle there.
When you go to Homestead, considering that's a track that Kurt has had success before, is that half the battle when the driver has had success? And with that success, I assume he admires the place or likes it to some degree. But when you have a driver that's had previous success, does that make your job easier and the task at hand a little bit better?
Mike, none of this is easy. I don't care how much you like the racetrack. It's tough. Every weekend is different. It throws something different at you. Track conditions, weather, temperature. It all throws something different at you, and we're all improving and gaining speed, and it changes the loads in the car, and you've just got to work through that and make smart decisions on how you're going to go about your setup. So yeah, but I mean, it gives the driver confidence to go into a racetrack that he's been successful at, but it changes every weekend, and hopefully we can unload down there pretty close and get Kurt his confidence in the start of the weekend and go from there, and hopefully have a great weekend down there.
What's the itinerary, Steve? When do you guys head down, and what's the weekend shape up for schedule-wise for you guys?
Well, we flying down. Both nationwide cars are running, and congratulations to those guys. 1-2 finish, and for Sam Hornish, man, was that not awesome to see Sam get his first win in the NASCAR? And it was cool to see the emotion. And Roger stuck with him, and a lot of people question that, but Sam's an awesome guy. I think he's a great race car driver, and I think he's going to get back to winning races in NASCAR, whether it's in the Nationwide Series or the Cup Series. And look forward to watching that transfold into his career, getting revived and racing for wins instead of just being there racing. So look forward to that. But we leave at 8:00 in the morning. We got both Nationwide cars going down there. They've got inspection and stuff tomorrow. So. We fly out at 8:00 in the morning and starts the weekend, final one of 2011.
Yep, got a lot of fun in the sun on deck for this weekend. Let's hope that you are bathing in sunshine in Gatorade Victory Lane come Sunday's end in the Ford 400. All the best to you, Steve.
I appreciate it, guys, and it's been a fun year talking to you guys.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. We'll see you down there.
It definitely has. Steve Addington, crew chief for Kurt Busch, there on the hotline when we come back. But right now, Kurt Busch's crew chief, Steve Addington, is amongst us. Steve, top of the morning to you.